not everything is totally yin or totally yang. Not everything is totally active or totally passive. We have a combination of things. Hi everybody, my name is Eli and I'm very happy to have you here in today's practice. Today we're going to do a short session of yin yoga to help you to relieve any pain, any discomfort that you may have in your back. So for this session you may not need any prop, but maybe if you have a bolster or a pillow with you and you need to sit up on something to be a little bit more comfortable in those poses that we're going to be seated, please have it with you. Otherwise, come to the back of your mat. So we're going to start with the first pose, which is called butterfly pose. So the idea with this pose is to make a diamond shape with your legs. The closer you keep your feet to your groin, that more intense will be the stress applied to the adductors. So that is totally up to you. Remember that it's not about how a pose looks like, it's about how it feels. And we're targeting the lower part of the back and the upper part of the legs here. So we're going to be stressing this area, but without causing any pain, any discomfort there. So make this diamond shape for your legs, and then bring your torso as far forward as you actually feel something. The idea is not to push ourselves to go to the feet, is to find that sweet spot that is going to actually target that area that we're aiming to target today. I like to practice this pose with my palms facing up, so we avoid that urge of pushing forward, pulling forward. And then your head, you can choose to either rest and let go of your head, hanging your head down, or I like to keep it aligned with the rest of the spine. And you can close your eyes. We're going to be here for a few minutes, so you can close your eyes. Or you can find a focal point to have your eyes focused and concentrated instead of wandering around. While we are in this pose, we're going to try to connect with that natural process of breathing, observing how the breath evens up, same time to inhale, same length to exhale. I'm going to be holding also spaces of silence so you can actually pay attention to what is happening inwards, what is happening inside of your mind, your muscles, your tissues. What is this asana doing to your body? Very softly, you're going to start using your hands to lift your torso upright. We're going to stop in the center, just observing, feeling, decompressing. Good. Now for the next pose, we're going to keep the left leg in front. I'm going to send the right leg back, trying to have your foot outside next to your hip. So we can stay here. This pose is called a half saddle. So there are a few ways that you can actually practice this pose. You can keep your knee aligned with your hip. You can allow the knee to spread out. This is how I practice this pose. And the other one is resting. No need to keep your toes pointing in any direction. You can stay here. Probably if you have the pillow or the bolster here and you're coming too far to the left, it's a good idea probably to sit up on something, kind of like to level up your pelvis. But otherwise, you can stay here. You can close your eyes. You can actually rest also on your hands like this. You can keep going all the way down to your elbows, or you can keep going all the way down to your back. So today for me is going to be up here. It's early morning for me and my body needs to receive the poses in a different way. So it's totally your choice which of the variations of the pose you want to choose. We're going to be here for another minute. Again, you can close your eyes, or you can find a focal point in front of you to keep your eyes from distracting. This is the asymmetrical version of this pose called saddle pose, when we do one thing with one leg and another thing with the other one. Only 30 more seconds. This pose is aiming to start stretching muscles in the front of your leg that eventually will stress the front of your hip, especially if you are with your torso behind. Good, so we're gonna lean over the left side, releasing the right leg, and just stopping here. Feel, observe, how does your knee, your foot, this right leg feels when you compare the right and the left. You may not feel anything, and that's totally okay. Believe me, a lot of things are happening. Now we're gonna move to the other side, so shift towards your right, keep your right leg extended, and then we're gonna move and bend the left knee, same. You may choose to stay upright. You may wanna start actually incorporating a little bit of the stress to the back by placing your hands, your elbows, or your back all the way down to the mat. So let me try this side with my hands behind. The right leg is soft. No need to hold your toes pointing at any direction. Only a few more seconds before we let go of half saddle, the asymmetrical version of saddle pose. Also is a pose on its own. Good, now we're gonna shift over the right, releasing the left leg and allowing that knee to get that juiciness that we get when we release a pose. And one of the blessings in Yin practice is that we have time to actually observe those things, because believe me, in any asana practice, all these things are happening. You're compressing, you're twisting, you're lengthening, but because we practice very quickly, it's quite difficult to observe those sensations and feelings. Good. Now we're gonna shift to one side, either side, doesn't matter. We're gonna move up both legs behind. We're gonna come to seal pose. Actually, we're gonna come to Sphinx first. Both poses are quite similar. The difference is what happened to the arms. So I like to practice this pose with my palms together, because that changes what is happening at the shoulder joint. And not everything is totally yin or totally yang. Not everything is totally active or totally passive. We have a combination of things. So even though in yin we're aiming to release as much as possible the muscles, we want to release the muscles around the target area. So right now the target area of Sphinx pose is the lower back. Remember, today we're working to hopefully relieve some of the symptoms or signs of discomfort that you may have in your back. So that is a target area in this particular pose. So maybe softening your glutes and allowing your lumbar spine to sink down into your mat, but keeping your torso and your arms active. We're not just hanging in between the shoulders. You're actually activating the serratus anterior, a muscle that is helping us to depress the scapulas to keep the shoulders away from the ears. We have a few more moments in this very yummy pose. I really enjoy these kind of poses. So we're going to stay here for another minute. So you have the option of staying exactly as we are, or you can move your hands to each corner of the mat and extending your elbows, coming into seal pose. So this is a little bit more intense back bend. That, remember, not more means better. Sometimes, and especially in yin, less is better, less is more. But try and see how that feels. If you feel more at peace with the previous variation, please do so. Otherwise, we can stay here just for 20 more seconds. And seal pose. Softening your glutes, softening your legs, keeping your torso engaged and active, keeping your eyes closed or focus on something. Good. Now we're going to start releasing wherever you are. We're going to release the torso down, making a pillow with your hands and resting your forehead on your hand just for a few seconds. Observing here how the lumbar spine feels like. And here we're also neutralizing the spine because we're gonna go from a back bend to a forward fold. So we need to neutralize the spine. We don't want to stress the ligaments of the spine way too fast. Good. Now we're gonna start coming to your fours. And then keeping your knees, in this case, we're going to keep the knees together to do this child pose. We have different ways of practicing child pose, but in this one, keep your knees together because this will help you to round the spine, okay? And then you let go of the torso and allowing your head to hang and your arms behind you next to your legs. And use it this time to come inwards. Child pose is not only a great pose to release any discomfort in your back, but also it's a soothing pose when we feel afraid, when we are stressed. Is a great pose to come to make us feel secure and safe again. Good. And gentle, we're gonna start coming out of the pose. Observing, feeling, always take the time. There is no need of rushing and just going too fast from one pose to the next one. Good. We're gonna again shift to one side. We're gonna extend the legs back in front of us, same as we did before, but now this time, instead of bringing the right leg out, the right foot out, we're gonna bring the right foot in. So bring your right foot inside, place it against your left thigh. Naturally, what is going to happen in the moment you move your foot back, your right pelvis is going to shift. So a few things we can do here, which is fine, it's completely natural and normal. You can consciously move the pelvis back in, kind of like to level up with the left. That is going to push your foot a little bit more into the thigh. You can, to have more space, you can move your foot a little bit more lower. Be mindful of not pushing against the knee. We don't want to apply stress to the ligaments. It's not the aim of this pose. Or you can keep your foot close to your groin, allowing the pelvis to go back. That's fine. And we can choose how to practice this. We can do it in two different ways. We can allow that natural movement of the pelvis and come in between the two legs. So the torso, the shoulders, the pelvis are aligned. So this is one way of practicing half butterfly. Or we can incorporate a little bit of twist. We're moving from the thoracic spine, so keeping the pelvis always facing that way, because the lumbar spine and the sacrum don't twist. They're not meant to twist. They're not built to twist. We twist from the thoracic spine, adding that twist, and then moving the torso on top of the leg. Today, I'm going to practice like this because we're targeting different parts of the back. So choose to be in between the two legs or moving towards the left leg. But again, be mindful that where you're twisting is only you're shifting your shoulders. We're not twisting from the lumbar spine. Palms can be facing up. The same principle that we apply for butterfly for the first pose that we did. The aim here is not touching your leg with your head. I mean, if you're there, good. If that is your first edge. If whatever you are, it's fine. Remember, the first edge that we want to go to is that part where the asana actually touches the body. Left leg is soft. No need to keep anything active there. Your head can be hanging or in line with the rest of the back. I'm going to stay here for about 45 seconds more. Keeping your shoulders away from the ears. Observing how the asana makes you feel especially in the area of the lower back. If you're adding the twist, maybe also in the upper portion of your torso. Good, and very gently we're gonna use our hands to start moving out of the pose, releasing the right leg in front and pausing for a moment. Observe not only the legs but also the right side of your body, especially if you were with the twist. I feel some nice stretch in the right portion of my back. You may feel something different, and that's totally okay. Keep your right leg as it is, and now bring your left foot inside of the thigh. So same, the left hip is going to move back. You can keep it there, you can level it up, you can move the torso in between the legs. So we are using the forward fold here, or you can do the forward fold and the twist. Choose the variation that is working for you today. that is working for each of the legs. Both sides not necessarily are the same, so we have to give them what they need. They were holding poses for about 2 minutes. Which is a great length. It's kind of like an average length to hold poses in yin. Usually we are starting with the practice 1 to 2 minutes is the perfect length to be in a pose. The more you keep advancing in your practice, the more time you want to add. So moving from 1 to 2 minutes to 3 to 5, 5 to 7. You keep going up. It depends on the intention of the practice, the pose you're practicing, what your body needs, your strengths, your limitations. Remember, not everybody is the same, so the yoga asana practice shouldn't be the same for everybody, right? Good. Enjoying these last few moments in the pose before we use our hands to start coming up. Lengthening and extending the left leg in front. Just observing, feeling, acknowledging, and then moving to the next pose, which is now the symmetrical version of something similar that we were doing, which is caterpillar. This is a symmetrical pose when both legs are exactly in the same position. So keep the legs where they are. If you, again, if you need to bend the knees because this is causing a lot of distress in the posterior part of your knee, you can bend the knees. You can actually hug your legs like this and just let go of the legs, let go of the torso. That is one option. Or you can keep the legs as they are, allow them to, the toes to drop naturally where they want to go, because in the moment you let go of any activation of muscles, your bones will take their natural orientation. So allow the feet to go where they need to go. For me, they go out. For some people, they go in. For some people, they get straight and then come forward. Today, we're practicing caterpillar, which is the name of this pose, with a rounded back, because I am targeting the muscles of your back. If we were practicing this pose to target the muscles of the legs, I will keep my torso straighter. But today is all about the back. So we're going to stay, this is the last pose before we go to Shavasana. So we're going to stay here for a bit longer, maybe 3 minutes here. Again, with the head, you can drop the head down if that suits the needs of your head and your neck today. Otherwise, you can keep it more aligned with the rest of your back. One more minute in this pose. I'm timing the poses so we get a fair amount of time in each of them. You just need to follow my voice, close your eyes, and enjoy the practice. And we start moving out of the pose. Again, taking a moment to pause. That is key in pausing, feeling, observing, not rushing. We're not going anywhere. We're here, present. So be present and observe. And now we're going to start moving into Shavasana for the last few minutes of this class. So make your way to all the way down on your mat. And the key in Shavasana is to let go, to dissolve, to surrender. You can close your eyes, allow your legs to drop wherever they will go. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, palms facing up, or palms, actually you can have your hands on your belly. We will be here for about 3 to 4 minutes, but if you need more time and you want to stay a little bit longer in Shavasana, please do so. If you are practicing with me and you don't have much time to continue in Shavasana, so we're going to start coming out of it. Again, as I said, if you have the time today to stay in this great pose, please stay there. Otherwise, you're going to add some gentle movements to your body. Maybe stretching your arms and your legs, bending your knees, rolling onto one side, either side. We won't be there for too long. Then placing your hand on the floor, helping yourself with your hands to come up. Maybe keeping your eyes closed for a few more moments. Pausing a moment here to feel how you feel now. Perhaps you can notice that there are some different sensations and feelings than the beginning of the class, at the beginning of the practice, so allow that to sink in. I thank you all for practicing with me today, for allowing me to be with you in this practice to relieve any discomfort that you may have in your back. I hope that is helpful for you, for any of your friends or family members who needs a practice for that condition. Anyway, I will meet you back here with another practice, with another class very soon. Thank you so much. See you.